10 minimalist habits that quietly made me rich. Picture a guy at Starbucks, plain white t-shirt, 10-year-old backpack, drives a Honda Civic with a dent. He orders an $8 single origin pour-over, sits quietly savoring every sip. Next to him, a woman with a designer handbag, a new iPhone, and luxury car keys on the table. She orders the cheapest $2 drip coffee, never tastes it, and scrolls her phone the entire time. Here's what nobody in that coffee shop knows. He's 48, retired last year with $2.3 million, owns almost nothing. She's 52, still working full-time, $40,000 in credit card debt, and owns everything trendy. The paradox? The minimalists spent more on coffee, but less on everything else. And that's the ancient secret modern culture desperately hides from you. Stoics, Buddhists, Talmudic scholars, they all practiced radical minimalism. Not because they were poor, but because they understood freedom. Marcus Aurelius owned an empire, but personally owned almost nothing. These 10 ancient minimalist laws create wealth through subtraction, not addition. The less you need, the more you have. A paradox that built dynasties. If you're tired of owning too much while having too little, comment "less is more" and hit subscribe. Let me show you what the Stoics understood about possession. Number 1. The Stoic producer versus parasite law. Most people spend their entire day consuming. 8 hours scrolling social media, watching TV, shopping online, and eating out at restaurants. They create maybe an hour or two per week if they're lucky. Then they wonder why their bank account never grows, why they feel empty, why wealth feels impossible. The answer is brutal. They're parasites, not producers. Marcus Aurelius owned the entire Roman Empire. He could have consumed anything: endless entertainment, elaborate feasts, luxury beyond imagination. Instead, he woke 2 hours before dawn every day to write philosophy. He governed during daylight hours, creating value for millions. His personal rule was simple: produce double what you consume, or you're stealing from yourself. But that's just the obvious part. There's a study that reveals this pattern with shocking clarity. 77% of wealthy people watch less than 1 hour of TV daily. 77% of broke people watch more than 1 hour daily. The correlation isn't a coincidence, it's cause and effect. Producers create value, and money flows toward value. Consumers extract value, and money flows away from them. The ancient Stoics understood this as a mathematical law, not a moral judgment. For every hour you consume TV, social media, mindless shopping, eating out, you must create for 2 hours first. Work, build, write, teach, make something that adds value to the world. That's the 2-to-1 producer ratio. Flip it to a 1-to-2 consumer ratio, and you've locked yourself into poverty regardless of your income. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Creating is how money flows to you. You're adding value, solving problems, building things people need. Consuming is how money flows from you. You're extracting value, taking without giving back. The universe rewards producers and punishes parasites. Not because it's fair or moral, but because it's a mathematical reality. Here's what you do this week. Track your hours. Count every hour spent creating actual work, side projects, and learning valuable skills. Then count every hour consuming TV, scrolling, shopping, and entertainment. If your ratio is 1-to-2 or worse, you're a parasite, wondering why you're broke. 2 brothers both earned $60,000. The first spent 6 hours daily consuming TV, social media, and video games. The second spent 6 hours daily creating and building a side business after his day job. 5 years later, the first was still making $60,000, drowning in stuff he didn't need. The second was earning $180,000, owning almost nothing, and being completely free. You're either producing wealth or consuming it away. There's no neutral position in this equation. Number 2, the Buddhist single flame focus law. And what I'm about to say is what makes the difference. People try fixing everything at once. They'll budget and pay off debt, start a side hustle, and begin investing all in the same week. By week 2, they're overwhelmed. By week 3, they've quit everything. By month 2, they're back exactly where they started, just more discouraged and convinced they can't change. Buddhist monks training for enlightenment face an overwhelming path. Meditation mastery, scripture study, physical discipline, compassion practice, it's endless. But they don't attack everything simultaneously. They focus on a single practice for 90 days until they reach competence, then move to the next. It's called the single flame principle. One candle burning bright lights the entire room better than 10 candles barely flickering. I learned this the hard way, trying to declutter my house. Attacked everything at once: clothes, papers, digital files, garage, kitchen. Within days we were literally swimming in piles of stuff. The house was a disaster. We gave up because it felt impossible. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. The same principle saved my finances. Instead of trying to budget and invest and start a business and cut expenses all at once, I picked one area for 90 days of obsessive focus. Quarter 1, master budgeting only. Quarter 2, eliminate wasteful subscriptions only. Quarter 3, launch one income stream only. Quarter 4, start investing only. By year's end, I had 4 major wins instead of 0 wins from scattered effort. Here's why scattered focus fails. Your attention is finite. Spread it across 10 goals, and each gets 10% of your power. Concentrate it on one goal, and it gets 100%. 100 always beats 10. Do this starting today. Pick one financial area, maybe cutting expenses, increasing income, or starting to invest. Not all 3, just one. Give it 90 days of complete focus. Every other goal goes on hold. Single flame for 90 days, then move to the next flame. A woman tried everything at once: budgeting, side hustle, investing, debt payoff, simultaneously. Lasted 3 weeks, burned out completely. Restarted with 90 days of pure focus on side hustle income. Built it to $2,000 monthly. Then I spent the next 90 days investing that income. Then 90 more on debt payoff. Same effort, different focus, completely different results. A single flame burning bright beats 10 flames barely flickering. Number 3, the Talmudic triple vessel money system. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. People have one big bucket they call money. 5,000 comes in, 5,000 goes out, and they have absolutely no idea where it disappeared to. No clarity means no control. No control means no wealth. It's trying to navigate in complete darkness. The ancient Talmud taught something that destroys modern confusion. Divide your earnings into 3 sacred vessels before anything else. Each vessel has a specific purpose. Each receives its portion first, not last. The 3 vessels were called lechem, which means bread for survival needs, simcha, which means joy for life enrichment, and atid, which means future for wealth building. The modern translation is brutally simple. Fundamentals get 50% maximum: rent, utilities, food, insurance, transportation. Fun gets 20% maximum: travel, dining out, entertainment, hobbies. Future gets 30% minimum: investments, savings, business building, wealth creation. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. These percentages create clarity that most people can't handle. If 80% of your money goes to fundamentals, you only have 2 options. Either cut your fundamentals dramatically, smaller house, cheaper car, less convenience, or earn substantially more, because fundamentals should never exceed 50% of income. There's no third option. If 40% goes to fun, you're literally stealing from your future self. If only 10% goes to your future, you will work until you die. The vessels force an honest conversation with yourself that most people avoid their entire lives. Here's what you do right now. Pull up last month's expenses. Categorize every single dollar into one of the 3 vessels: fundamentals, fun, or future. Calculate the percentages. If fundamentals exceed 50%, you're in crisis mode, whether you feel it or not. If the future is below 20%, you will never be financially free. A man thought he was doing fine financially. Did the vessel audit and discovered 75% going to fundamentals, 20% to fun, and 5% to future. He realized he was broke with nice stuff. He cut his expenses to 45% by moving to a cheaper place. Increased future by 35%. 3 years later, he's on track to retire at 52 instead of never. 3 vessels force truth, and most people can't handle seeing their real priorities written in percentages. Number 4. The Roman buy it for life principle. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. People buy cheap everything. $20 shoes that fall apart in 3 months, a $300 laptop that dies in a year, a $50 desk chair that breaks their back. They spend a decade replacing junk constantly and wonder why they've spent $5,000 but own nothing that actually works. The Romans built aqueducts and roads designed to last centuries. Not because they had unlimited wealth, but because they understood true cost. Their engineering principle was simple: build once, build right, never rebuild. The Pont de Gard aqueduct was constructed 2,000 years ago. It's still standing today, still functional, because they refused to build cheaply. I was terrified of this principle for years. I bought the cheapest laptop 4 times in 5 years, trying to edit videos. Fried every single one. $1,600 wasted on garbage that never worked properly. Bought cheap coffee I hated and drank it miserably every morning for years. Bought cheap furniture that I replaced every 2 years. Over $3,000 went on stuff that never satisfied me. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. The buy once philosophy isn't about spending more, it's about spending right. A quality hoodie for $120 that lasts 10 years beats a $30 hoodie that lasts 1 year times 10 purchases. That's $300 for worse quality and constant replacement stress. A good laptop for $1,500 that serves you for 7 years beats a $400 laptop times 4 replacements. $1,600 wasted versus $1,500 invested. But here's the hidden benefit nobody talks about. Buying once forces radical intentionality. You can't impulse buy quality because it's too expensive. You have to research for weeks, read reviews, and ensure it's exactly right. The result? You buy 90% less stuff overall, but you love 100% of what you own. Before any purchase, ask yourself, will I use this for 10 years or more? If the answer is no, don't buy it at all. If the answer is yes, spend 2 weeks researching the quality version. Buy once, buy right, never buy again. A woman bought 15 cheap hoodies over 8 years for $450 total, wore each a few times, hated the quality, kept buying more. Finally bought 3 quality hoodies for $180 each, $540 total. Still wearing them 6 years later, loves every single one. $450 wasted on junk versus $540 on lifetime satisfaction. Cheap stuff is expensive when you calculate the total cost. Quality is the only real economy. Number 5, the Chinese root before fruit planning. And what I'm about to say is what makes the difference. People set vague goals that guarantee failure. I want to save more money. I want to get rich someday. I want to stop worrying about bills. These aren't goals, they're wishes. And wishes don't create wealth because your brain has absolutely nothing concrete to work with. Ancient Chinese farmers understood something that modern people have forgotten. First year plant roots, second year expect fruit. Farmers who tried planting for immediate fruit failed every single season. Those who obsessively focused on developing deep root systems had fruit for decades. The proverb was clear: harvest follows roots, roots follow planning. Every 90 days, I pull out a journal and define one specific outcome goal, the fruit I want to harvest. Not save more money, but save $10,000 in 90 days. Now my brain has something real to work with. I can reverse engineer it. 10,000 divided by 90 days equals $111. I must save or earn every single day. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. That's when I draw the tree. The main trunk is my daily target, $111. The left branch shows how I'll save that much. Stopping eating out saves $30 daily. Canceling subscription saves $10 a day. Downgrading the phone plan saves $5 a day. The right branch shows how I'll earn it. Side hustle earns $50 extra daily. Overtime earns $30 extra daily. Selling unused items earns $15 daily. The entire system is visible on one page. I can see every root feeding the trunk feeding the fruit. When reality shifts, maybe the side hustle only generates 40 instead of 50. I adjust other branches immediately. The tree keeps growing because the roots were planned. Random goals without roots produce nothing. I want more money gives me 0 action steps, but a tree with planned roots produces predictable fruit. 2 coworkers both wanted emergency funds. The first kept it vague, saved when possible, and ended the year with $1,200. The second drew a tree. 6,180 days equals 33 daily. Branched it into 20 daily expense cuts plus 13 daily from side work. Hit 6,100 in 179 days, exactly as the tree predicted. Fruit without roots is fantasy. Roots without planning is luck. Only trees with planned roots bear predictable harvests. Number 6. The monastic sacred obsession transfer. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Everyone's obsessed with something. Food, social media, shopping, streaming shows, and video games. These obsessions consume hours daily and drain money constantly. Most people never realize that obsessions aren't fixed personality traits. They're transferable energy that can be redirected toward anything. When monks entered medieval monasteries, they arrived obsessed with worldly things. Wine, elaborate meals, social status, and material possessions. The monastery didn't try to eliminate these obsessions. That never works. Instead, they taught obsession transfer. Wine obsession became an obsession with prayer precision. Food obsession became an obsession with fasting mastery. The core teaching was simple. Man will always obsess about something. Choose what deserves it. Wait, the most important part is in the following story. Modern neuroscience confirms what monks knew. Human brains need obsession. We crave dopamine loops. The question isn't whether you should be obsessed. The question is what deserves your obsessive energy. Scrolling social media for 3 hours daily is an obsession, just one that makes you poor. Learning about money for 3 hours daily is also an obsession, but one that makes you wealthy. I've had an unhealthy obsession with money for 12 years. Over 100 books read, courses consumed, podcasts binged. It sounds extreme, but that transferred obsession took me from a day job at 24 to complete financial freedom now. Same obsessive personality, different target. Your current obsession has a cost. Track 1 week of your biggest time sink. Maybe it's social media, maybe gaming, maybe mindless shopping. Calculate the annual cost in time multiplied by your hourly value plus money spent directly. Most people discover $20,000 to $50,000 in annual opportunity cost. Now choose your sacred replacement obsession. Money mastery, business building, skill development, and health optimization. Something that builds instead of drains. Transfer gradually. Reduce old obsession, 30 minutes daily. Add new obsession, 30 minutes daily. Your brain adjusts its dopamine source within 90 days. A guy was obsessed with video games, spending 30 hours weekly. Calculated 1,560 annual hours times $30 hourly value equals $46,800 in opportunity cost. Transferred to money learning obsession, reading, courses, podcasts. Year 1, income jumped by $15,000 from applied knowledge. Year 3, the business started generating $90,000 additional annual income. Same obsessive brain, different target, opposite outcome. You will obsess over something. Choose what makes you free, not what keeps you trapped. Number 7. The Stoic Subtraction Mastery Law. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. People say yes to everything. Social invitations, helping neighbors, extra commitments, subscription services, and ongoing expenses. They're programmed from childhood to believe that saying no is rude. Someone asks for help, saying no feels selfish. Someone invites you somewhere, declining seems ungrateful. But if you say yes enough times, you end up completely broke with 0 time left in your life. Seneca was the wealthiest advisor to Emperor Nero. He could have said yes to endless opportunities, requests, and luxuries. Instead, he practiced what he called via negativa, the way of subtraction. His principle completely inverts modern thinking. Wealth is not the addition of possessions, but the subtraction of desires. He gave away most of his wealth, kept only essentials, and died both wealthy and free. I'll tell you something that many people regret for the rest of their lives, just because they didn't realize it in time. Every yes is simultaneously a no to everything else. When you say yes to helping someone move on Saturday, you're saying no to every other possibility that Saturday holds. When you say yes to a $15 monthly subscription, you're saying no to that $15 compounded over 30 years, which equals $22,000. One small recurring yes equals a massive lifetime no. The worst yeses are ongoing commitments. You say yes to Saturday morning pickleball, and suddenly every Saturday is gone forever unless you actively choose to quit. You say yes to a gym membership you never use, and 50 months disappear forever. These recurring yeses drain your life and wealth silently. Here's the shocking reality. The average American has 12 active subscriptions but believes they have 6. 273 monthly on small recurring yeses. That's 3,276 annually, which equals $103,000 over 30 years if invested instead. List every recurring yes in your life right now. Monthly subscriptions, weekly commitments, daily habits. Ask each one, does this serve my freedom or steal it? Cancel anything that steals. Invest the reclaimed money immediately. A woman said yes to everything: social events, gym membership, subscriptions, favors. Always broke, always exhausted. Did subtraction audit, 18 recurring financial yeses equaling 387 monthly, plus 15 hours weekly in time commitments. Canceled 14 financial yeses, declined 10 time commitments. Reclaimed 320 monthly, plus 10 hours weekly. Invested money, used time for a side business. 18 months later, I had 8,000 invested plus 1,500 monthly new income. The wealthy master subtraction. The poor keep adding until they collapse under the weight. Number 8. The Confucian rising together, community law. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. Most people build wealth in complete isolation, working alone, learning alone, struggling alone. No accountability, no inspiration, no shared wisdom from people ahead of them. They burn out after 2 years because it feels impossible to sustain motivation when nobody around them understands the journey. Confucius taught something that modern individualism has destroyed. A man who walks alone arrives nowhere. His 5 companions principle said you must surround yourself with 5 people ahead of you on the path. Not for networking or status, for transformation through proximity. His students who followed this principle became China's wealthiest philosophers, while those who isolated themselves struggled as teachers. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Research proves what Confucius taught. You become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. Spend time with people earning $30,000, you'll gravitate toward $30,000. Spend time with people earning $100,000, and you'll move toward $100,000. This isn't snobbery, it's about standards and what feels possible. I worked alone building my business for 3 years. Made $45,000 annually, plateaued, couldn't figure out why. Joined a 200 monthly mastermind with people making $100,000 to $500,000. Learned strategies I'd never considered. Got accountability I'd been missing. Most importantly, my standards shifted. Making $45,000 went from pretty good to clearly need to improve. 18 months later, I was making $120,000 surrounded by people doing $200,000 plus. Here's what you do. Audit your 5 closest companions. Are they where you want to be financially? If not, you need new companions. Join one paid mastermind or community this month. Paid matters. Free communities attract tourists. Paid communities attract committed people. Isolation feels safe, but guarantees stagnation. A guy spent 3 years trying alone, made minimal progress, and felt like he was failing. Found a local minimalist wealth-building group that met monthly. Discovered others facing the same struggles, learned solutions they'd tested. 2 years later, his income doubled just from implementing strategies the group shared. Iron sharpens iron, but only if you're around iron instead of wood. Find your 5 companions or stay average forever. Number 9. The Warren Buffett boring wins principle. Wait, the most important part is in the following story. People try beating the market constantly. Crypto, meme stocks, day trading, and individual stock picking. They chase whatever's trending, convinced they're smarter than average. They lose money repeatedly, keep chasing the next sure thing, because admitting boring work feels like giving up. Warren Buffett has over $100 billion. His strategy for normal people? Buy low-cost S&P 500 index funds and hold them forever. His most famous quote destroys clever investors. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the active to the patient. I lost decent money on meme coins, SHIB, Doge, things like that. Thought I was smarter than I was. Turns out I'm not. The data is crushing. 90% of individual stock pickers lose to simple index funds over 30 years. Being clever costs money. Being boring makes money. But ego says, I can do better, and ego loses every time. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here. The S&P 500 over 30 years averages 10% annual returns. Individual stock pickers over 30 years average 4 to 6% after fees, taxes, and mistakes. The boring approach is mathematically superior, not sometimes, always. But it feels too simple, so people ignore it. Here's the formula that actually works. 80% in low-cost S&P 500 index funds. Set it, forget it, check once yearly maximum. 15% in real estate or a business you actually control. 5% in Bitcoin or speculation, only money you can lose completely without affecting your life. Calculate the money you've lost chasing opportunities. Crypto losses, individual stock disasters, and day trading fees. Most people discover $3,000 to $10,000 lost over 5 years. That's the cost of trying to be clever. 2 friends both invested $500 monthly starting at 25. The first constantly traded, chased trends, and tried to optimize everything. The second bought the VTSX index fund and literally forgot the password for years. At 55, the first had $420,000 after fees and bad timing destroyed returns. The second had $1.4 million from doing absolutely nothing for 30 years. Same money, same time frame, different approach. Excitement is expensive. Boring is profitable. Choose your poison carefully. Number 10. The Taoist water level lifestyle law. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss the last detail. People get a raise and immediately upgrade everything. Earning $50,000, spending $48,000. Get a raise to $80,000, start spending $78,000. Income doubles over a decade, but wealth stays flat because lifestyle inflation steals every raise before it can build freedom. Lao Tzu taught something called water finds level. Water always seeks its level and stays there. The wise man keeps his water level constant while his reservoir grows deeper. The foolish man raises his water level every time his reservoir grows. Result: the wise man's reservoir eventually overflows. The fool stays perpetually at the same depth. I'll tell you something that many people regret for the rest of their lives, just because they didn't realize it in time. This is the lifestyle inflation trap that destroys more wealth than market crashes. Earning $40,000, living on $38,000, saving $2,000 yearly. Get a raise to $55,000, upgrade to living on $53,000, and still save $2,000 yearly. Get a raise to $75,000, upgrade to living on $73,000, and still save $2,000 yearly. Your income nearly doubled, but your savings stayed exactly the same. The water level lock changes everything. Live one pay raise behind. When earning $50,000, keep living like you earn $40,000. Get a raise to $65,000, keep living on the $50,000 lifestyle. The gap widens automatically, wealth accumulates naturally, and freedom arrives inevitably. Or use 2 years behind. Ask yourself, what would 2022 me spend on this? If 2 years ago you wouldn't buy it, you shouldn't either. Your income may have grown, but your wise spending stays locked in the past. Social pressure fights this viciously. Friends upgrade, you should too. Advertising screams, you deserve this. Ego whispers, you make more now. All lies are designed to keep you broke forever. Lock your lifestyle spending at a specific number, maybe $45,000 annually. Hold that number for 3 years regardless of income growth. Every raise goes to investments, not lifestyle upgrades. After 3 years, you can raise the cap 10% maximum if needed. 2 coworkers both went from $35,000 to $60,000 over 5 years. The first upgraded everything annually. At $60,000 income, spending $58,000, saving $2,000 yearly. The second kept living on $35,000 the entire time. At $60,000 income, spending $35,000, investing $25,000 yearly. Same income growth, opposite water level strategy. First had $10,000 saved after 5 years. Second had $95,000 invested. Lock your lifestyle, free your future. Every raise is either freedom deferred or freedom accelerated. So here's what you need to understand. 10 ancient minimalist laws, not 13 scattered habits. The Stoics, Buddhists, Talmud, Romans, Chinese, Confucius, Buffett, Taoists. Every culture that built lasting wealth through subtraction discovered the same fundamental truths. More isn't better. Less is more. Subtraction creates multiplication. This week, choose one law to implement completely. Producer ratio failing? Fix it today. Scattered focus? Single flame it for 90 days. Vessels wrong? Adjust them tonight. Buying cheap junk? Stop and research quality. Start with subtraction. It's always the fastest path. Comment less is more and tell me which law you're implementing first. Share which ancient teaching surprised you most. Tag someone drowning in too much stuff. Too many commitments, too little freedom. Next video, why ancient minimalists retired wealthy while modern maximalists stay broke forever. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember the coffee shop contrast? Plain clothes minimalist with expensive coffee and $2 million. Designer maximalist with cheap coffee and $40,000 in debt. More possessions didn't create more wealth, they prevented it. Subtract to multiply. Own less, live better, build wealth quietly. The ancient path is always the simple path.